Hello. Great sound effects.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird. Okay,
You found just a check down right here.
there you go. Does anybody need a copy of the budget that I printed at 3, that I sent you guys at 3 o'clock today?
Yeah, I think I could probably use one too.
Maybe one of the
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't think we have a quorum, so we can move on. And the first order of business is to approve the minutes of the March 21st.
We just realized we didn't have them for you. We will have this, the last one and this one at the next meeting.
But we did get attached to the,
Did you? Did I actually?
we did get them, I think.
Okay, I got myself confused.
Oh, not the March 21st.
Yeah.
But we had the May, we should approve the May 27th and 24th.
Those were for the budget committee, we're not in the budget.
Yeah,
We're not in the budget, we're in the general.
Right, okay, sorry. I thought we had the urban renewal, I don't have it in front of me. Didn't we get the urban renewal?
We've got
Minutes?
last year's budget.
Oh,
minutes
okay.
were
Alright.
there.
Okay. All right, so then, reviewing the projects before we go in, I had a thought I wanted to bring up, and, so, you know, one of the purposes of the urban renewal project is to, deal with blight in our urban renewal areas. And I was wondering if there would be any interest of the group to look at the, Rollwood factory. It's really blighted, first of all, but as a potential community structure, I mean, that's down the line, but looking at it to acquire it, if it's even worth it, you have to assess it first. But for things like indoor, basketball courts or track, or a place for emergency assembly, because that's a large space, storage of our emergency gear, it would be multi-purpose. But right now, it's not functioning as anything. And I don't know what the status is, because I knew there were some complications of, legal things, I don't know where it is now.
Yeah, I understand there's a couple liens on it, and that the county has quite a bit of interest for back taxes.
So that would mean, that they might, foreclose on it, and then if we say, show some interest to maybe we should. But to me, putting some money in the budget, if we are interested, might be a good thing to do to allow us to do like a structural assessment. What would it take to fix it up, or is it just to tear it down? But it seems to me that, because the roof looks good, some of the other part doesn't look good, it might be worth taking a look at that as a city asset. And especially if it's foreclosed upon by the county, we might be able to get it at a. So I don't know how much we would need to have a structural review. Well, first of all, we just have money in the budget, because we don't even know if that's even a possibility until we talk to the county, but having some money, if we decide to move forward, I think it might be of interest. So if other people are interested in that, we could put some money in the budget to allow that initial assessment. And then next year's urban renewal budget could be the acquisition if it turns out to be structurally sound or something like that. Anybody have an opinion?
Is it truly in the urban renewal?
Yes.
Light chart?
I can't tell from that.
The map
I think
is
it's-
Oh, yes.
It's along 101 right by the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other building I keep wondering what's going on too is the one that's owned by the Celeste Truck.
Oh, further down?
Yeah.
They've been
Yeah.
doing a
And-
lot.
and
They
the
did a lot
front
of
of it.
work in there.
Yeah.
Did they? Because the front of it was terrible.
They
Yeah.
just did a ton of work inside. I had talked with whoever the managing director is of that particular division. And she said they were working on getting it cleaned up inside after the fire that they had. And the board of directors was gonna decide what they wanted to do with it after that. My understanding is it's got some pretty intense foundational issues because it's on the slope and the pilings that it sits on might be problematic, but
It's a really cool building.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
The building that's the Browood building, has it always been like just a metal structure like that, or is it, what was in it before?
But boat works.
Well, so there could be some, I'm thinking environmental issues with, oil and grease and that kind of stuff that we might need to.
Possible, is that for Renewal, right? Yeah, it could be. So that would be part of the assessment cost as well. Rick, did you have something?
I did, and thank you, Fran, for bringing that up. And anyway, I do have a couple of thoughts on it. One of the first things was that I was looking at that building, thinking, what a great indoor gun range that would make. So, but this makes me think that maybe we need a workshop. You know, I hate to stumble around on these properties. We're talking about a bunch of properties right now, you know, purchasing property, and it's, I think it's more than we can handle to be buying property, because there's so much more involved with our city buying property. You know, we're just doing this thing out here on, next to the water plant, you know, water treatment plant. And that's, you know, blossomed into a kind of a money pit in effect. And this thing here could be a real money pit. The building doesn't look that good to me. It looks like it needs hundreds of thousands of dollars of work. So, but I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, maybe we need it. We need storage, apparently. We're lacking that. And sure, renting something that might be the solution. I see it more as a city building that would, you know, where we could put emergency supplies and things like that, but I'm worried about what it would take to be able to take that building. So I would like to see us do a workshop, and where everybody can come in with their ideas on what what they'd like to see with regard to the urban renewal money. I'd like to see what we've done in the past with it. Kind of review that, rather than just, you know, throw darts at a dartboard. Go at this in a very deliberate manner and pace. We don't have to spend this money tonight or during this, you know, in the foreseeable future.
Pardon me, if Gina said she's got another time here, people, could you please put your mics closer or speak louder?
Well, I agree with Rick,
Thank you so much.
but I also think that there's so few buildings available, you know, other than that are $500,000. You know, that's a building that's in a good location. Who knows what we can use it for? So I think a workshop would be good, but there's few and far between for us to even consider at this time.
I was gonna say, I was in there about 10 years ago probably, and it's a nice big open space, and I could see it being a rec center of some sort with storage in the back. But yeah, it'd be interesting to look into it. I like the idea.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I think the building needs a lot of work, but from a budgeting standpoint, I mean, I think it's worth the effort to just figure out what that is. And so I would not have a problem putting money into the budget to just do the assessment, figure out who the owners are, figure out if there's any interest. Are we dealing with environmental issues? Is there structural issues? Just to get that overall, is it worth the city's time and effort? You know, I don't know what that would cost to do that, but I don't know that we can move fast enough in this year's budget. I don't think, because we just don't know enough information about it.
When we get to the budget part, I did put 50,000 in there in case we do something for that, for professional services, plus some additional staff time, but we can talk about that when we get to the budget.
it would be nice to have a place to go in the wintertime when it's downpouring rain to do workouts or
Square
basketball
dancing.
or, you know, that kind of stuff, it would be nice for that.
Well, we just have to keep in mind that if we're gonna do that, we have to budget for that now and in the future. And this council, I believe, at a planning session 2 years ago said that it would no longer spend money without a source of income for that, whatever that is. And that might be, if we're planning on doing something like this, we should think about that. The millions of dollars that we'll be spending.
4 or 5 pages.
Any other thoughts on that? And I kind of cut off on the, tribal building, but that's not something we want to pursue or look into, because it's owned and they're doing things, right? So we don't have to get involved in that, right?
Well, you know, I do think, Chairman, that we could ask the tribe what they're doing with it, because I'd like to impel them to show some interest in that building.
Well, they've been doing a lot of work. We have like I think it's up to $10,000 we could offer if somebody wants to improve their facade of their building. The application, that might be a way to go if we want to go that way. But I don't know, that's already what former urban renewal committee had allocated a long time ago. So, where would that come from? If we offered that and then somebody says, yes, you want, is that already in the budget?
We would probably put it under, say, for example, I think the last time I've seen it could go under capital outlay because it would be over 10,000, so. But we could probably also put grant administration and business services. I have this, grant, they put it under, either under capital outlay or it would go under materials and services as a grant program, so. I have to look and see how they did it before.
Yeah.
Because they, you know, obviously have done it before, so.
So do we want, I mean, that would be a task. Do we want to reach out to the tribe and say we have money for improving the facade?
I think if you reach out to them, you have to put it out there for everybody, I don't
Yeah.
think we can specialize.
That's true.
Well, I don't think that would be a problem for somebody to mention to somebody that, you know, hey, there's $10,000, that's not showing any preferential treatment. I think we should put something up on our website, of course, announcing that the money is available, but I don't see any problem with talking to anybody in this town who needs help in upgrading their storefront. And along that line, can we use it to do things like, in terms of beautifying, our Highway 101 frontage with like, flower pots and flowers and things like that, is that what, or does this have to be infrastructure?
Not this grant program, because we would be granting ourselves.
No, I mean, as urban renewal money, can we do things to beautify our town?
I'm not sure that we can, unless we can say color is specifically addressing what the light, like cleaning up a lot. I don't think we can say we can put pots and things down there, that's a good place to use CRT funds and general funds.
Okay.
Or parks.
Funding sidewalk and roadway improvements, including design, redesign, improving circulation, but I don't see anything, restrict parking, I don't see anything about general beautification.
I really don't wanna give the tribe $10,000, we're always going to them for money, so
Yeah.
I don't really wanna offer.
Don't get them on the wrong foot.
Yeah, it's like, we got money, and could you give us money, and I don't really want to.
Well, that was my idea, Mayor, was just to ask the tribe to do that, and then suddenly it became, well, let's.
I would like-
Geez.
I would like somebody to reach out to the tribe and find out what their plans are.
That's not any of our business.
Seriously?
I'm not sure that is any of our business, it's
Really?
private, it'd be like me calling you to find out what you're doing in your house.
Okay,
If he has
the selectman's in
connections,
charge.
Yeah,
he's
so
got connections.
I actually called them because I wanted to put a business in there.
Oh, okay,
That
there
was
you
why I
go.
specifically
Good
called
job.
them and,
Okay.
yeah, it didn't turn the way that I wanted it to, but
Okay.
I've suggested some other options for them
Oh, okay.
and so I don't know where that will go, but it was a business opportunity for me, that's why I
Okay,
was able to reach out.
I'm actually, changing what I just said about, I don't think it would apply, on page 5 of our urban renewal plan. It says pedestrian, bicycle, and transit, streetscape and neighborhood beautification projects. The renewal agency is authorized to participate in activities improving the visual appearance of the project area. These improvements may include streetscape improvements along Highway 101, including decorative pavers, street lighting, street trees, landscaping, street furnishing, and signs.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they would define as street furnishing and landscaping, if we're just talking. So it would be probably, the scope would be, what are you thinking? If you're talking about hanging potted plants, I'm not sure if that would be, but maybe it is. It's something to find out.
Landscaping at the northeast corner of 101 Schoolhouse Street as a city gateway sign, and landscaping, I don't know.
so this is why I really wanted us to get the consultant on board. Those are the kind of questions that we can ask them, the consultant that we have to
For urban renewal.
For urban renewal, yeah. Have somebody come to town that knows urban renewal, that we can walk through our plan with them and say, give us some ideas on what we can and can't do.
Well, then let's not spend any money until we do that.
I agree.
One item we've used in the past and it needs it again is that Trollers foundation area that's below our parking lot. It's all overgrown again, and it's probably 2014, we cleaned the whole entire slab off and it's all overgrown again.
Where is this?
Trollers
The old
foundation, they
In
call
the
it
harbor.
Trollers Island, but it's not an island, just below our parking lot.
Oh, you mean in the harbor?
Yeah, it's that concrete.
Mhm.
We've used urban renewal funding to clean that, and it does need to be cleaned again.
Mhm.
Just,
So, some of these items we're talking about then would go into the budget, directly as line items, or is that part of contingency? I'm not sure how anything works. And if we wanna do an assessment, so that would be specific,
If you put it as a regular line item, it's easier to get to.
okay.
Otherwise, if you put it in contingency, it's more challenging, it's not impossible, it's usually gonna take a resolution probably to do it. But if you put it in reserve or unappropriated, then that's, unappropriated is impossible to do it,
On the 50,000 professional services,
So,
no.
pardon me, no, we're not talking about the budget,
Yeah, oh, okay.
sorry. I just brought that up just because, yeah, I know it's a very squishy subject, but we're planning on talking about the budget.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering, at our last urban renewal meeting, what was that budget? I can't remember.
March.
We had talked about our water plant,
Mm-hmm.
and we have nothing in here at all for our water plant. We're moving forward with that. Is that just dropped, or?
It's the purview of the urban
That seems to be
renewal
kind of a crucial item to me, is that if we're gonna be moving forward with replacing our water plant, why isn't there something in the budget for engineering on that?
Well, we have some money from the general fund, we certainly, my feeling is if we don't need the harbor fund, that funding can go to the water plant.
Pardon me, Chair, we will need that 500,000. We will need it. I absolutely believe we will. We are so close to the edge of where we're at with the bid, and then we know we're gonna expect some change orders, and our city engineer really feels, not our city engineer, Candy really feels that, the piling, I mean, maybe if there's not an issue with piling, but he's just, they don't know,
Stay
so.
cautious.
But I think we'll, and maybe not all of it, I think we'll have to.
So-
It's hard to tell until they start.
If we're talking projects, something that I really think we need to consider, since the South of the Bridge project was canceled, is a crosswalk at Bellingson. And I know that, it is part of I think crosswalks are making improvements to streets, sidewalks, and crossings in any of the rural area. And so I think we need to consider something on the south side of the bridge to get people across.
Tell me where Ellingson is.
Ellingson is the one that's right between the hippie trip and the Mozilla corner.
How's ODOT gonna look at that? Because you've got a stoplight there, a bridge
Yeah.
involved.
So it was the south of the bridge project, they wanted it at Evans because they said it was too close to, Ellingson was too close to
And where's that?
the other, so that's the one right at the fire department.
But
So
that's
what-
not gonna be used as much.
That's it, the Evans, it's too far from where everything's at, it needs to be back at Ellingson, and when the South of the Bridge project was on, that's where I had made requests that they put it there, not down at Evans, because it'll never get used. So, but it's just so dangerous when you see people out in between all those cars trying to play Frogger across Highway 101.
Well, part of the reason they moved it down there is because they were trying to do so much in that small area
Mhm.
so if it's just a crosswalk without the changes to the lanes or something. And Brady, when we want to do projects with ODOT, we propose something to them.
Yeah, you get engineer drawings, tell them what your plans are, and then they'll just say you need to get engineer drawings, and then they look at them, review them. And if it's at no cost to them, they'll make an agreement, but there's also long-term maintenance that goes along with it.
They will analyze whether or not they want to allow us to do it. Whether or not we pay for it, they will analyze whether we're not allowed to do it.
Yeah,
So, but we do need engineer drawings before we go. We can go to them and say, we want to do this, and they're like, okay, but I need your drawings, I need your narrative, I need what you guys want to do, so. We did that when we were looking at doing the speed signs, you know, they can give us the basics, but then they say, you gotta fill out this form, you gotta fill out this permit, you need to start early.
well, same thing with the, trying to improve our lack of street cuts along these sideways. So what I've heard we wanna add is, did you wanna say something before? Water plant, Evans Crossing,
I thought it was Ellingson.
no, excuse me, Ellingson Crossing, you're right, thank you. Assessment potentially of the Berlwood, just to see if it's even feasible where we are. What am I missing? And I think Highway 101 improvements for handicapped accessibility are already in the budget or proposed.
Gun range.
I don't think you get that, but you could get indoor exercise equipment. So, and then some of these things are also things that were, we talked about maybe having a chart about, can they come from TRT funds, can they be, or then, can they come from urban, general fund, under general fund or TRT or urban renewal, because urban renewal is a relatively small pot. The other thing we had was the beautification as a potential, for landscaping or something.
And I would think that TRT would be able to fund the crosswalk, I would think TRT could fund the beautification project, because it's all tourist related stuff,
Right.
and so I'm all for moving as much of it as we have funds available into TRT. I mean, that makes the most sense, because TRT is gonna be more difficult to do water treatment.
Right.
And it's a much more difficult thing to justify it, where a crosswalk for the tourists is an easy thing to justify.
Right, so the water plant and the assessment of Berlwood, if it's gonna be a community facility, will include tourism. So those could go into urban renewal, and the Ellingson, the handicapped accessibility on 101 and highway beautification could all go into general fund perhaps. So that could be a priority, that could be part of our prioritization. But I do like the idea, we have to budget for it, but I really do like the idea, we keep saying it, we're just so busy, but doing that workshop that has the League of Oregon Cities, whoever that was, urban renewal expert to come, and then really trying to figure out longer range, because we seem always time of budget to come up with ideas, but not really know how to proceed.
It'd be nice on the timing of that too, if we could get that history put together of what we have spent on so far.
I just wonder how far back am I supposed to go on that?
The beginning of time. Sorry.
Is that something that
15
Gina
years.
could do instead of Kim having to put it on her workload?
Oh, yeah, I hope, no, I don't want to.
Artist started it,
Yeah,
so I didn't ask her today where she's at on it, because she was trying to gather that, because I was also trying to find out what we've actually spent on SDC funds. There's no real record of it, the audits don't help me on that, so,
I have a question for you, Kim. How did we go from 571,000, a budget of 571,000 in 22-23 to a budget of 1.6 million in 23-24? What caused that boost in revenues?
probably because the revenues or the funds didn't transfer. They didn't transfer the funds like they needed to, it's part of the catch-up we have to do, so. Plus, nothing's been balanced in quite some time. I just went from the bank statement, which is the last, that beginning fund balance I show is the bank statement, is exactly as of the end of May, what's in that account.
So, if I wanted to see how much revenue comes in annually on this tax, how would I do that? I don't know if I have enough data.
We have a spreadsheet. I know that,
Is it here?
that she has, like, for example, this year so far, we've got 661,000 from property tax, and that number's included in here now.
Property taxes within the urban renewal.
so, and we are looking at a substantial increase in what we're gonna be seeing over the next few years between now and when the plan sunsets. Because of the subdivisions that are in it, like the hills, everything in the hills, all the incremental tax money is gonna be going into the urban.
The more that comes in,
The Winchell Street project, same story. You know, when we put the map together, we knew these projects were on the horizon, so that's why they're all in there. So, yeah,
Well, and the other thing the expert could tell us is how to go about extending
we definitely need to look at that.
urban renewal.
well, yeah, that's not too hard to do as long as we stay within a certain percentage. That's kind of what we did.
Question, on this Burlwood building, which is in arrears for taxes, which means that we're not getting our urban renewal money from that building, right? Is that what that
We
means?
don't know for a fact it's in arrears of taxes, it's an easy thing to find out, though, it's public information.
Oh, I thought I heard that.
Somebody guessed.
It was a speculation,
Yeah.
it's not a fact.
Easy information to gather.
And if the county's gonna foreclose on that, then whoever is gonna foreclose on it, they're gonna wanna offload it, so there may be a real opportunity to buy something at a reduced price. I'm more concerned about what's it gonna take to make it a usable structure.
That's a good
You
point.
know, purchasing
More
it
material.
is easy, it's just, cities oftentimes have tons and tons of land sitting in their inventory that's not getting used for anything. And I'd hate to see us get into that situation where we just have a bunch of stuff that's sitting around, not being used for anything.
And then another big chunk of property that is in urban renewal is the Gregerson plots, several lots, which we have identified as being part of the harbor improvement project for the parking lot. Do we have any updated info on that?
We're still in the process, it's all gonna come down to price, and I have somebody giving us an estimate, like what they're recommending or what they say the price would be, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Now, on that Gregerson property, we're just talking about those lots adjacent to the harbor, right? We're not talking about the whole thing.
9.79 acres,
That's the big section, but
that's all of it.
Yeah, but it's divided,
I know, there's 4 lots, there was 9.79 acres in
We
total.
haven't finalized the
Nobody's
discussion on
finalized
that,
anything.
so.
I did speak to Mr. Gregerson, and they are interested, but he told me it would come down to price, which he always does, but it doesn't mean he's unrealistic. He said that doesn't mean we're unrealistic. I talked to him about the option, and this was gonna be in that meeting tomorrow night, so you're hearing it early. I talked to him about, potentially going for a grant, and if he's willing, he said, we're in no hurry. He said, so if that's what it will take, we're more than willing to, he's willing to sign a letter, intent and everything like that. He said they'd like the city to have it, but he said, I'll be honest, it's gonna come down to price. I don't think he's gonna be unrealistic about it, I think he just
So
wants
what,
to make a good offer.
so our intent is to use, I mean, first to do the harbor stuff. What would the intent be of having the other part of property be able to control, and protect the stream water or have a park there?
I have all kinds of ideas, but we
And-
haven't had a chance to.
Right, nobody's
House law,
really,
have a workshop.
there was talk about carving out 2 acres for affordable housing up near where Councilor King lives. There's been a lot of talk about ideas to use it all, not just pieces of it,
Okay.
but to use it all,
And
so.
I would think that if the city were to become involved with that large piece, that we could do restrictions on the actual use of the property
Mhm.
and then turn around and sell
Sell
it
it,
to a developer or somebody that wanted to build to whatever those restrictions are.
It's a good idea.
It's, that way you can, you can preserve watershed, you can still have development, you can do all of those kinds of things. And it puts the city in the driver's seat then, as opposed to just somebody coming in and having to go through the whole planning commission process to develop it.
My thing is affordable housing, we gotta get serious about that. I mean, we have all kinds of opportunities here that we could use, to leverage, bring in some developers and get that.
So with the developers looking at the property, the lot, the section behind my house, I've always been told that that's in the subduction zone. So I guess any developer would have known that before they wanted to develop it, because that needs to be considered.
So I have a question.
Earthquake,
I'm sorry,
hazard zone, earthquake,
tsunami.
tsunami,
It's just like-
Inundation zone.
Because
So I have-
it goes right up to, 20 feet from my house.
yeah, so that, yeah. you got
And then
that.
it's down, so that's a concern.
Chair, I just don't think I can let this pass because this issue of affordable housing keeps coming up. Everywhere I go, it comes up. And what we're overlooking is that we're making real progress on affordable housing in the state. A report just came out 2 weeks ago that said that Oregon is way ahead of the curve on the affordable housing response. Affordable housing is opening up everywhere. In every city, 44 units in Lincoln City, units in Depoe Bay as part of that county housing program. I have housing going up to the east of me, to the south of me, and to the north of me. The Dan James property just recently sold. I think it's 12 acres off of Collins. So it's not like we're not having development, and the housing, and the term affordable housing, I mean, I don't know what that means, because housing at every level is affordable to somebody. Are we looking for low-income housing? And the impacts that, we need to look at all of that stuff. Anyway,
Yes, we need all of that. We need a place for people to live that can afford it.
The challenges we run into, and I deal with a lot of developers and builders, and the challenge is that their costs are through the roof, and so for a builder to come in, and everybody's definition of affordable is different, but for a builder to come in and he has all the city fees that have to happen with SDCs and connection fees and all of those kinds of things, they're tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars invested before they even break ground, and then all the construction costs that go with it. So the definition of affordable in this day and age is becoming a difficult thing. And so the only way that I believe we can come up with what the workers of this town, and a lot of the seasonal workers, a lot of the restaurant type workers, is that there's gotta be some kind of assistance to the development people when they come in to build whatever it is that they're gonna build, whether it be apartments, whether it be cottages, if it's tiny homes, whatever they're gonna build, they just can't do it without help, because the money it's gonna cost them what it's gonna cost them.
So, we do have urban renewal funds, like for this larger area we're talking about, to provide water, sewer, and storm services as necessary to meet future development needs in the renewal area. So potentially, we could, if we wanted something that's more affordable, go ahead, defray those costs by, minimizing system development fees or actually providing the services. So, but that might be for a future year. I don't think anything's moving that quickly, but,
How do we do that?
actually, going ahead and putting things in, using urban renewal funds, installing a sewer line or water
A
line.
pump station costs $1.4 million.
Well, incentivize a builder to do it. So you split the cost with them, tell them we'll give you a grant from the urban renewal for $300,000, and you're gonna spend $300,000, and so the $600,000 cost to you is now $300,000. So it makes that property much more appealing to a developer than coming in with, a $600,000 investment right off the front.
I think there's things we could do.
I agree.
So, in terms of, is the Gregerson discussion happening under general fund, time for staff, or is that occurring under urban renewal?
It's
staff?
not under urban renewal, it's under city budget.
City budget,
And there really isn't a number in there for it.
okay,
There's no number. If we put a number in, it would be under professional services, planning, stuff like that.
somewhere, if we're interested, we certainly need some funds to, again, allow the negotiations, allow the planning.
There's
So
money in land acquisition under the general fund and the parks fund.
under the regular budget, so we don't need to do
Yes, nothing
anything.
in here, no,
Okay,
unless the agency would like to do that. I just didn't put it in there.
yeah.
Because
So-
we have a very limited amount in urban renewal, if you take out 500,000 right off the top.
Okay. So the only things I've heard that remain in urban renewal, unless we want to do something additional to that, is water plant assessment of the borough, with the others being eligible to be used in the general fund under TRT funds, the transit and tax funds.
Was there gonna be, were you gonna create a grant opportunity for business people to apply for Beautify 101?
We do have that from the past, we haven't budgeted for it here, there is a form up to $10,000. Do we have a standard for who could apply, or is it anybody?
I think it's in the rules, and I think
Can we
it's
cap it?
I think
anyone.
it's capped already.
You can put whatever rules you want on that, but I think there is already some certain kind of rules in that.
Yeah, I think it was a cap, we looked at that at one point for the, property that used to be the Rivers property on 101, and I think it was $10,000, if I remember correctly. So that's, but we haven't budgeted for it. So if we're gonna plan to do it this year, we need to budget.
The people that have done that program too, have really raved about it, it's really been helpful.
Yeah, all I remember is Woodmark using it, John Woodmark, I don't know who else used
I
it.
think the people at Well Inn, that little,
Oh, yeah.
But then they had to pay it back,
I was gonna say, I heard that there were some issues with a couple
because
of
they
them.
sold it.
Oh, it's too fast.
They sold it to us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's a
Yeah.
So do we want to budget, is that a priority need for now, or do we want to budget for
I
that?
would always like to get our downtown beautified.
Yeah.
It really is
Yeah.
lacking.
We've been talking about it.
Maybe put 40,000 in?
So is that, so that's for like up to four, or more than that, but, more than 4 properties, yeah. But the standards, when I looked at them, weren't that good, I guess we could change them.
Have an urban renewal agency moving to a state fund.
So we could put 40,000 in for beautification, whether that, and is that under urban renewal, or is that under, it could be under, again, under, general fund? But this is certainly allowed outright in urban renewal.
Yeah.
So we could put 40,000, that's not that much.
And Urban Renewal has done that in the past.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And, we'll discuss amounts when we get to the budget. So are we done, or do we want to discuss? Oh, so when do we want to schedule that workshop? I think it was a COG person that had the.
Her name was Elaine Howard, and she did reach out to me before. It was just a matter of whether or not, what the urban renewal agency wanted to do, and I would propose that we have to have an urban renewal agency meeting to adopt the budget on the 25th of June. That we include, discussing, I'll share the costs with you, maybe ask her to update them again, and you can decide if you wanna go from there.
And that would come in from our urban renewal budget? That we
Yes.
pay for that?
And I did, when we get to the budget, you'll see I did up, like I said, I up professional services,
Okay.
personnel costs, staffing costs, so.
So that would be a presentation from her plus a workshop for us discussing more projects or just?
So from what I remember, and it's been a while since I looked at it, she was going to look at our plan and come with ideas and how we might best use it
Yeah, because
before it sunsets.
we had a very, very general, what's urban renewal, and it wasn't really specific to us, so.
And this one was going to, because I told her we didn't have any interest in her coming out, if she was just gonna give a general, she was going to be specific.
Do we want her in public, or could we say, in person, or do we save resources and do it on?
I think it would be more challenging to do that kind of workshop in Zoom, but certainly could try.
I would really like them to physically be here.
Okay,
That's torture.
yeah, okay. So that was already in the budget. Yeah. And is that the type of in-depth discussion you want there? What were you thinking when you said a workshop?
That's exactly what I was thinking, thank you. Just, we can get together and confab and work together and.
This would definitely be more related to what we can do out of urban renewal. So if you wanna have a more holistic city approach, we would have to have also a city workshop session to talk about things that might be out of the urban renewal zone, like the bowling property, I think is that.
And these were some great ideas, came up tonight too, so good job, Sharon.
And then maybe some of these have already been done and we could update our urban renewal plan after we speak to her. We haven't done a lot of the harbor walkway, so.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, we have done anything that the original urban renewal plan was created to tackle, which was make the harbor more accessible. People walking and, the general public, not just fisher people.
Well, they just put in that nice path.
What path?
Oh, yeah.
The walkway behind Dockside coming down, which.
Right, yeah.
It's really nice.
That's so pretty.
One was, provide a harbor
Things like that, yeah.
overlook from the east side of 101 next to like
Yeah, there's a lot of,
Silet's, welding and stuff, so there are things.
That would be cool.
That would
It
be.
would get people to stop there as opposed to just driving on through.
Yeah, slow people down, so, but that would be challenging because of the steep slopes and stuff, but that could be a platform too, but we could look at that more. So right now, we have a few things up for this budget and stuff. Okay, we're done with the urban renewal meeting, unless anybody wants to say anything more. Okay, June at 6:45.
Thank you.